being able to market yourself in a way that like shows that you're capable of the role that you're applying to. I think some people might be like, oh, well, I don't have a sales background. It's like, well, what is your background? And like, how can you market yourself in a way that comes across that you actually do have a sales background? Like all of these things can add up into like a perfect resume for a role.
You're listening to Breaking the Ice podcast, a podcast that I created in 2020 to connect women within the hockey world. My name's Devin Dodaro, my husband's Charlie Dodaro, and we've played literally all over the world. We have 2 kids, 2 dogs, and let's just say hockey has taken my world by storm. What I've learned is that this community and these experiences are very specific, and you should not have to go through this alone. Through this podcast, I share the tools, resources, do's, don'ts, and what's helped me along the way while continuing to learn from each and every one of you. So lace them up and tune in for episodes twice a month. And make sure to follow the page on Instagram at Breaking the Ice Pod. All right, welcome back to Breaking the Ice. I am currently sitting in my car recording this intro, and I do typically try to record these intros in advance, but sometimes, it's just a last minute situation, and Tuesdays are usually a busy day for me, so I'm in the middle of an appointment for one of my kiddos. That's why I'm sitting in the car, and then I've got school pickup I've got to do. So I am on the move. I'm so happy you're here for this episode. Something that has been highly requested is the topic of jobs and remote jobs, working abroad, visa questions. And I have not worked for a company since pre-kids, and I've never worked when I've been abroad. So I feel like when people ask me these questions, I wish I could offer more insight on a personal level, but I just really can't. I really wanted to have a guest on that I knew would be great at sharing this information with this community. So that was one of the topics that we covered in this episode. But in addition to that, I had Lo Carr on the podcast today, and she is so much fun. I texted her after. I was like, okay, I feel like we would be friends in real life. She is so laid back, just a down-to-earth girl. We talk about so many things. We just kind of rolled with it. We chatted about her moving overseas with her boyfriend for the first time and what that was like, and how her personality is really adaptable, and how she was able to kind of look at it through a positive lens and, find the experiences in that. They've had a bunch of back and forth with her husband's career. They were in the UK, and then they went back to North America, then they were back to Europe, and then UK, Europe, UK. So they've been bouncing kind of around. So we just compare some experiences, chat about what various situations were like. And her husband recently retired after this past season. So we get into what that is like for them right now, and as well as where they've decided to plant their roots, being from 2 different countries. So all in all, just like a great episode to listen to tune in for. It's a light listen, but filled with so many good nuggets of information for you guys. We are still in our summer. I feel like our summers feel a lot longer now that we're in North America. I have learned the information that our season starts on October 1st, which is actually my birthday. So I'm like, oh my gosh, of course it does. That's lovely. I don't think the hockey season has ever in North America started on my birthday, ever. And my husband and I actually share the same birthday, same year. And I'm pretty sure there's a team dinner that night as well. So we're just getting thrown right back into it, you guys. This is just the name of the game. This is the rite of passage with the hockey season of how it is. So anyhow, as always, thank you for being here. I'm going to stop rambling now. If you are listening today, I always love your support if you're tuning in for a podcast episode to every now and then just share that you're listening, tag the page. I love to reshare. And I also think it's so much fun to see where you're listening to. Let's say you're in Norway and you're listening to the podcast and you tag the city in Norway that you're in. I just think that's so fun and cool. So thank you for people that do that, because it really makes a difference on just spreading the episodes out so people can tune in and find the support that they need in this lifestyle. So with that being said, enjoy this episode with Lauren. All of her socials are linked in the show notes if you'd like to give her a follow. She does great content on TikTok and Instagram, and we will chat soon. And then
Awesome.
do you go by Lo or Lauren?
I go by both. It really doesn't matter to me. Like social media wise, I go by Lo, so we can
Okay.
roll with that. Like all my friends call me Lo, and then honestly, introducing myself, I always say Lauren, just because people get so confused by hearing Lo. They're like, I don't understand that name. So
That reminds me of The Hills. Did you watch that?
yes, and I loved that show.
I
And what's
know.
so funny is now, like, I married Kevin, which is obviously his last name's Carr, and now I'm LC, and I'm like, ugh, makes me so happy.
Rebrand.
Yeah,
Rebrand.
I should be
Just go by
rebranding.
Elsie. Yeah. Yay. Okay. Well, welcome to Breaking the Ice. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. So I've done my research. I've got the elite prospects pulled up. I'm ready to dive in. But for those that are listening, go ahead and introduce yourself. Give me a little rundown of you, what you do, how you met your husband, like all the things, anything you want to include is
Sure. Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for having me. Number one, I'm so excited to be here. And I also have Elite Prospects like pulled up on my computer because I don't know, like that's just part of our life, like every day.
yeah.
Even though my husband is now retired, I still hear Elite Prospects this. Oh, what's that guy's name? Let me EP, like search whatever. So that's so funny. Anyway, a little bit about myself. I am Lo Carr. I am married to Kevin Carr. We've been married for a little bit more than 4 years now. And we met all the way back in 2013 during our last year of university, actually. We met like
Okay.
around Thanksgiving of our senior year, American Thanksgiving. He's Canadian. I'm American. Just like a little plug there.
Yes. Good to know.
But yeah, we dated like our senior year a little bit here and there. He graduated. He went on to play professional hockey, obviously. That's why I'm here. And I moved to Hawaii like a week after I graduated. So we went our separate ways for like 4 or 5 years and then reconnected randomly like one summer. And it's been us ever since. We did long distance for one season when he was playing in Salt Lake City, which I think he played against your husband maybe when your husband was on Idaho way, way back then. Like,
Well, he's a goalie, so I don't have to apologize for his behavior on the ice. Because whenever people tell me that, I'm like, oh my gosh, like literally every time. I'm so sorry for anything he's done on the ice. So I'm sure he wasn't too much of a bother to him, hopefully.
no, hopefully not. But yeah, so we did long distance for a year. And then the next season, he played his first full year abroad in Nottingham, England, and asked if I wanted to go, which I moved to Hawaii right after college. I've always been somebody to like say yes to experiences and adventure. So I said, yeah, absolutely. Went to England. It was the COVID year, cut short. So we've kind of had to like flip back to North America the next season. But after that, we've been abroad for the last 5 years through Germany, Norway, and then we've had 2 more stints in Nottingham and then 1 year up in Scotland. So 4 years total in the UK. So, and he just retired this last season after 12 seasons. So huge career. And now we're like moving on to the next journey.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. A lot to unpack. Where did you guys go to college?
We actually didn't even go to the same university. I went somewhere. He went to the university. What is it called? He went to Buff State, which is SUNY.
Just click on over.
I was going to say University of Buffalo. I'm like, that's not right. It's Buffalo State.
Okay.
Which is a SUNY school. I also went to a SUNY school like an hour outside of Buffalo.
Where?
Fredonia.
Okay. My husband's whole family is from Syracuse. Like his mom grew up there, like, and they all still live there.
Oh,
in that area, which is, they're all like kind of close to each other.
We are like, Fredonia was an hour south of Buffalo. So it's like closer to the PA line, not east, like Binghamton, like that area over there. It was south of Buffalo. But yeah, we met around Thanksgiving because I went home to Buffalo and that's where I'm originally from. And because he's Canadian, he didn't go home for Thanksgiving because it wasn't Canadian Thanksgiving.
Right.
So obviously like the night before Thanksgiving is like a massive night to go out and I didn't want to go. He also, I guess, didn't want to go. And the first bar I walked into, like I took one step into this bar and he was right there and he was like, hi, like, do you go to Buff State? I'm like, no. And I kind of gave him like the cold shoulder. I got his number and then we went out on our first date to a hockey game. Obviously, like what else would we be doing like a week later? So
yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, that's too funny. Sorry, I just had like a side thought. I'm like, oh yeah, the night before Thanksgiving, going out. I feel like that was just like a universal thing. I think it's called Big Wednesday. And people just
go so huge. Like I didn't really realize at the time, but like as I've gotten older, people are like, no, it's such a massive night to go out. And I'd actually rather go like more in my 20s than now. But I'd almost rather go out the night before Thanksgiving versus going out like on New Year's Eve. Like everyone's back home from university and like, I don't know, you just see so many people out and about and having fun. catching up with everybody.
Okay, so you guys kind of go your separate ways. You go to Hawaii. Why did you go to Hawaii?
Honestly, that's such a good question. I actually don't even really know why I went. It was like exam week, my senior year of college. And I was trying to think of like what I wanted to do. I was like, do I move home? Do I like move somewhere else? My brother had moved away from home right after university. And like he moved states away for a job. And I was like, do I start applying? What do I do? Anyway, so I looked up one-way tickets to Hawaii and I texted my parents and I was like, hey, this is my plan. Like, what do we think? And both of them were like, that's insane, but I think that's perfect for you. So I moved 10 days after I graduated college with like a couple suitcases. I didn't have a job lined up. I didn't have a place to live. I knew only one person on the island, which was like a friend of my mom's. So I had met her one time in my life, like for a weekend. So I didn't really know her either, but she was really nice. She actually picked me up from the airport when I landed. I stayed with her for a couple weeks. I also stayed in a hostel for 2 weeks, which was an insane experience. Finding like where I was going to live I was there for a couple years. Yeah. Not in the hostel. I ended up finding.
Yeah. I stayed in the hostel. Yeah. A couple years, just hung out, What island was it?
I was on Oahu. So I lived on, have you ever been to Oahu?
Yeah. Not Oahu. I've been to Maui a few times and then the Big Island, but
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, all beautiful. Like everything, every island has something different to offer. And my mom actually used to live on Kauai, which is like one reason why I was a little bit drawn to Hawaii, but she wasn't living there at the time, like when I ended up going.
Okay.
But she lived on Kauai and I spent a summer there during college, which was like, again, an unreal experience to be able to be like 19 living in Hawaii with my mom. And I just wanted like a little bit more people, hustle and bustle, like Waikiki is on Oahu. So I ended up living like on the east side of the island, which was like a very local area. And what was funny is I could run into local people and they'd be like, where do you live? And I would say my zip code because like I don't really even know why, but that's what I would say. And people would be shocked that I lived there because I don't know.
Yeah.
It was such an experience, honestly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, what a cool experience. And I always say this, but like Hawaii is the one place when I go on vacation that I feel like I don't want to leave. I feel like generally like 3 or 4 nights or something when you go on a trip, you're like, okay, kind of ready to get back and like get into my routine. Even like Mexico, which I love. But every time I go to Hawaii, it's just like such a beautiful, amazing experience. So how cool that you got to spend that time there and explore and whatnot. So you got back. And then how did you and your husband reconnect? Did you guys stay in touch while you were traveling? Like, what did that look like?
It's so funny because when I'd first gotten there, his first full season was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And like, there's like fun Hawaiian treats and snacks, like macadamia nuts and the chips, like the Maui onion chips and all these like random things. So I would send him like little boxes of like treats that I would find in Hawaii that I thought he would like. And unfortunately, we just kind of like lost touch and like life just moves on. We both started dating other people and just like life goes on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved back home. My family was opening up a business and I ended up going back, helping them open that up. And my husband then was playing abroad and I got a FaceTime call from him when he was in Croatia. And I thought, wow, what a random call from Kevin Carr. And I used to always call him his first and last name. And I answered it and we talked for like 2 or 3 hours. And then he's like, I'll be back home this summer. We should get together. So he got back and like within, I want to say like a week or 2 weeks, he came to Buffalo. I was living with some friends there at the time. And we went out on our first date. And it was truly like no time had passed. Like it was just the best time. And we've been like truly inseparable ever since. We have so much fun. So.
Oh my gosh. What does he say is the reason for the call? Like he just randomly calls you out of the blue.
I don't know. I don't know. I should ask him actually when he's calling.
She's like, all right, I'm calling her back up and seeing what's up.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay, so you guys reconnect. And then was it that next season that he went abroad for the first time? Or like to England and it asked you to go with him? Like after that summer?
Like the following season, he went to England.
Okay.
He was like waiting for a contract to come and he was asking me, he's like, if I sign, he played part of a season abroad, like the time he called me, but he wanted to go full on, like, go abroad for good and kind of give up the North American dream that I think a lot of guys have.
Yeah.
So yeah, he had asked me, he's like, if I sign this contract, would you go with me? And I said yes. So that was our first year and it was so much fun. Honestly, we were in this like dinky, everyone can relate to this. Like I think everyone listening to your podcast can probably relate to like having such a shitty apartment. And
Yes.
at least one, like you can't
Yeah.
always be blessed. And we
It's a
walked
rite of
in and
passage.
he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for dragging you over here for this. And I'm like, it's fine. Like, we're going to have so much fun.
Well, I love that. And I don't know, I feel like that's just so interesting too that like a lot of girls are with their spouse in North America for a while before they go to Europe. But it's interesting that like basically like you guys
Yeah.
knew each other for a while, so it was a little different, but quickly into like dating, you're like moving abroad with him.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because not only are you experiencing like living abroad for the first time and like all the things that come with that, but also getting kind of introduced into this lifestyle and like
Yeah.
figuring all of that out.
That is true. I've actually never really thought about that before.
What
But
was that
yeah, I
like? I
mean, we
feel like
really
you
just
seem Oh,
jumped
sorry,
in
go.
2 feet. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say you seem like a very like go with the flow person, which is very much to your advantage, especially in this lifestyle, to just kind of like roll with the punches because it can be a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's always just like been a part of who I am. Like I'll always just like make the most out of whatever situation we're thrown in. And same with that. Like our apartment was not great. Like we didn't have hot water for weeks. Our sink was
Oh,
broken. Like we were doing dishes in the bathtub and like it was dark and like damp. It was just not a great place. But
oh.
and what's so funny is like that was our first year. So like I didn't really know what to expect. I'm like, this like we can make this work. It's fine. And then we've had really great apartments after that. I'm like, oh, that place was a shithole, actually.
I need you to go back now just to get me like the footage of this because I can actually envision in my mind because I feel like a lot of the apartments that are like that are very
Yeah.
similar. Like you step into it and you're like, oh my God, what have we done?
Yeah.
Like just can be, you know.
And I will say that was our first year in Nottingham. And the second year we went there, the apartment was great. And the last year we were just there again with our daughter. They got new apartments. It's beautiful. Like they've definitely stepped up the apartment game from the first season we were there. So just a quick
Okay.
little, if anyone's thinking about going to
Yeah.
Nottingham, that
Yeah,
they've
they're like,
seriously
oh my
upped the apartments.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, so what was your first season like together, living abroad, living the hockey life?
That season, it was such a weird season. It was COVID season. So the
Okay.
season got shut down by like March. But even before that, like Nottingham was only a couple hours from London. So we would go as much as we possibly could. I was lucky enough to get a working visa that year. So I was able to work abroad. And I think that was another thing that was a lot less scary. Like we weren't getting thrown into a country that we didn't speak the language as our first season abroad and like our first season living together. So it
Yeah.
was a pretty easy transition. Like it's very similar to home. Like there's obviously a ton of differences, but living and working there and like speaking English was a huge advantage. So
Mhm.
I got a job, like a seasonal job in customer service for a designer there, Paul Smith. I don't even know if you would know that. Like I don't think people really know Paul Smith outside of England. I didn't, but maybe other people do.
No, I'm not
I
before.
worked I worked in customer success there, and that seriously set me up for a lot of success because once that season got canceled, we headed home and I started applying for remote jobs because I knew he wanted to go back. And I landed my first like remote sales job, which kind of carried me through to even what I'm doing now. I've had a job ever since then, which
Wow.
I'm really lucky because I know so many girls that have to leave their careers and put them on pause. So
Yeah. So when you came back home, you quit the job that you were working in England, or did you continue with that for a bit?
it was seasonal, which was perfect. So it was just like a
Oh, okay.
customer service job through Christmas. So I worked
Okay.
from like the end of October to the end of February. And then the season got shut down like March 15th or something. So
Yeah.
I almost worked that entire season. And it wasn't like the world's best job, but it was good experience. And I was on the
Yeah.
phone all along listening to people complain. So now I work in sales and I'm talking to people all day long. And I could just like
Yeah.
no objection or like nothing bothers me. I'm like, just give it to me. What's up?
Yeah.
Tell me your
Lay it
problems.
on me. Okay. Okay. So that was probably 1920 season. And then you
Yeah.
guys came back to North America and did the next season in North America. And was that because of COVID that you guys decided to stay back?
It wasn't because of COVID. I think a lot of people that season struggled to get a contract. Like, I don't know where were you guys 2021 season?
We were in Austria in the EIHL, but the reason that it worked out for us is because we signed a contract literally right before everything shut down, before people knew it was going to happen. So that was such a blessing because I wound up getting pregnant at the end of that season. And then we were able to like go back. Otherwise, I don't know if that
Yeah.
would have happened because I heard, like you said, so many people were stressing out because it's a job. Like,
Mhm.
so anyway, but yeah, so you guys came
And
back to North America.
Yeah. So we came back. He signed back in Utah, which he had played. That was his third time playing in Utah. But he signed late. Signed in January. And that was like such a weird year because, again, COVID was happening. I think like right around then, this might not be true, but teams started pulling in a third goalie rather than just two, I think mainly because of COVID. Again, that might not be right. But
Yeah.
he got called up to Colorado Eagles and then sent back down to Utah. I don't even know how many times. So, and every time we'd get called up and be told, like, okay, you're going to go up for the rest of the season, we would pack up our whole Utah apartment into his car and we'd drive to Loveland, Colorado, and we'd live in a hotel for like weeks at a time. And they'd be like, okay, you're sent back down. And then he'd go back down. Like, it was just like a back and forth, like all season long. It was such like a weird year. And then after that year, we went back to Nottingham. That was our second stint in Nottingham. And then we stayed abroad every season after that for 5 years. So.
Yeah.
Did you
Okay,
stay
so-
in Austria after? Like, did you have 3 years in Austria, the same place?
Yes, we had 2 in Graz and then 1 in Vienna. So we would still come back for the summers and then we would go back over there. But even like when that whole shutdown happened, probably like a month before we were supposed to go back over there, the team was like, yeah, like you can come over, but your wife can't come.
Mhm.
And my husband was like, my wife is very pregnant and like we're planning on having this baby abroad. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not leaving her behind. Like, you need to figure it out and like get her over here.
How was that, having a baby abroad, like in the height of COVID and like
It was
craziness?
super stressful, honestly. Like, looking back, I don't know. I think it was just like being in a foreign country, like the language,
Mhm.
COVID on top of that, trying to figure out what the actual rules and regulations were versus like just hearing it. You know, it was just very like confusing. It wound up being fine because he was injured. And so he was able to stay in the hospital. Like, we did a private hospital situation so he could stay. But they were like, if he leaves to like go to practice or something, he can't come back until like you're checking out of the hospital. And I'm like, okay, well, if your injury winds up getting better, you're milking it until I'm in the hospital because you're not leaving me here alone with this, like, yeah.
And did
So-
they speak English, or was it like, did you have to have a translator? Because I know so many girls who give birth abroad and they have to bring in like a team translator to help them navigate
I
everything.
did not have a translator. My midwife spoke English and like she would come in and check on me like during the day, but the nights were rough because some of the nurses were like from Romania and literally did not speak any English. And so I would, he was like crying nonstop, like wanted milk. And I was like trying to be like communicate with my hands. I don't know why I didn't use Google Translate or is that what it is? Google Translate at the time. Like, I'm sure you know all about that. It's just like, what was I thinking? You're just in like kind of a fog at that point. But yeah, it was. Where'd you have your daughter?
In the US, thank God.
Oh, you did.
She was born in June. So we got back from Scotland at like 33 or 34 weeks pregnant or something. I was having like panic attacks on the flight. I was like, please, for the love of God,
don't go
just stay put for this flight. You can come anytime.
And did you like try to plan it that way so that you were having her during the off season?
No, it was just like, honestly, it happened. Like, it just worked out like that. Then, because we had a friend who was due in early June and she ended up staying after the season because she was just like a couple weeks farther along and she just didn't want to, I don't think she wanted to risk it really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we didn't plan it. It just worked out that way and it worked out perfectly because then once we had her, like 6 weeks later, we left for the next season. So it was kind of a good situation, I guess. Like, so many girls obviously give birth abroad and during the season where their husbands maybe see them like for the delivery and then it's like, okay, I have practice the next day and they leave. So I got really lucky in that way.
Yeah, you like had some time to get acclimated. Okay, so you guys, when you played in North America, then you made the decision to go back abroad. Was that like an easy decision to be like, okay, let's get back over there and like try this whole thing again? Because like you said, I think you get to a point in North America, especially after a season like you guys had with like the up and the down and the driving, like you kind of get into like a fuck this mindset. Like, I'm over this. I don't want to be like going up and down and packing my life. Hockey families are always on the go. Between traveling, long nights at the rink, weekends on the road, and trying to keep everybody fed in between, grocery shopping can easily become one more thing on your plate. That is why I love Thrive Market. It's an online grocery store that delivers high-quality pantry staples, healthy snacks, and household favorites right to your door. It just makes it so much easier, and my kids are always wanting a snack the second we set foot outside of the door. So I always love having healthy snacks on hand in my bag, wherever and whatever I'm doing. If you're looking for an easier way to stock your pantry without sacrificing the products that you love, check out Thrive Market and use the link through my show notes to get 40% off your first order. Now let's get back to the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I think the COVID year was, I don't feel like we were like forced to stay in North America, but that ended up being the best option for us at the time.
Right, yeah.
But after that season ended, we definitely knew that we wanted to get back abroad, and the opportunity popped up to go back to Nottingham. And Nottingham is honestly like one of the best places, if not the best place he's played. Like the fans are unreal and the team is great. Like the organization itself, the city is unbelievable. And we loved the first season there. As much as I like joke about the apartment not being great, we had so much fun. We made like lifelong friends that season. And same thing happened the second year. Like we enjoyed our time there, but we wanted to get, like Kevin especially wanted to get to like mainland Europe. I feel like a lot of guys, they have, aspirations of playing in Sweden or Switzerland or Germany or like whatever their goals are, right? And they want to play like in mainland because it's just like true European hockey is different than UK hockey, I guess. Like, and that's not a bad thing. It's just different, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Because when I was looking at his elite prospects, like something that I found interesting was that you guys did always go back to England. So that was kind of my question of like, did that feel like your second home, kind of like, oh, this is like we like it here, we're going to sign back here? Like, how did that journey look like for you guys deciding like, okay, we're leaving and then we're coming back and then we're leaving and coming back?
I know. It is funny. Like we've had 4 seasons in the UK, but it's like been back and forth we've never had 2 consecutive seasons in the UK, which is very funny looking at it. And yeah, it's just such an easy place to live. I think it's a good league to play in. And
it's can be intense for sure in that league.
But I think Kevin really liked it. Like he liked playing in Nottingham. He liked playing in Dundee when we were in Scotland. And for me, it was really nice because there's so many North American girls. Like the import rule is totally different than in Europe. Yeah. So in that way, like you are around so many other girls in the same position as you, as far as leaving home in North America, having to come abroad and living in the UK, like you just have that common ground right off the bat versus being in mainland Europe where there's maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 imports on a team. And you're also pulling people from other European countries. Like you might only have one other North American girl or family on your team, it makes the experience completely different, I think.
Yes. Okay. Tell me more. How so?
Just, I try to put myself in other people's shoes. Like if there was a team where I was from and my husband played on it and, we have 20 English speaking girls and one girl comes over from, I don't even know, whatever country. It doesn't even matter what country it is. Like that one girl is going to feel isolated no matter how much effort we put in to like include her in activities or dinners or whatever. Like I remember one instance being in Norway, the girls were as welcoming as they possibly could be, but I was the only North American girl on the team. They signed one Canadian guy like midway through, but his wife couldn't stay the whole season because she had a job back home. So she was like coming and going, but not for very long. Like I was truly the only one. But I remember being at a dinner and they invited me, which was great. But I was sitting there and like everyone is obviously speaking like their native language. They're speaking in Norwegian. And I just remember sitting there being like, wow, like why am I here?
Yeah.
Like I have nothing to, like I have nothing to provide. And like I do like to talk. So I'm just like, I could probably just talk to myself and they won't even care at this point.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like it makes things really isolating, even when you are invited to things. And like the girls that are from there are making an effort. I don't know how, like, do you relate to that? Like, do you feel like that was similar being in mainland Europe versus the UK?
Yes. And I think different situations as well. Like I have the exact same story as you. Like when we lived in Sweden, all the girls were like super lovely, super nice, but I got invited to a dinner too. And the same thing happened. And they were like all sitting around a table. It was like 10 of them and they were all speaking Swedish. And then like one of them would turn to me and be like, we're talking about this right now. Yeah. And then they would go back and continue their conversation. And I just like felt so like just like a fish out of water. And like, I remember texting my husband and being like, you need to like pretend you're not feeling well or something because like I need to get out of this situation. Cause I just felt like cause I like to talk too. And I'm like, this is so like I felt awkward. I don't think they knew I felt awkward, but I was just like, I don't really want to be here because I can't understand what anybody's saying, which I think is so fair.
And like as much as I tried, we were in Norway and Germany, obviously being languages that we don't speak, like as much as you try to learn bits of a language when you're around a table of like 10 girls and they're talking so fast. I'm like, I don't have a chance of even picking up like anything that you guys are talking about. And again, like they would turn to me and like they'd fill me in, which was so nice. Like it's not that
Yeah.
they were excluding me, but it almost
Right.
made me feel so guilty to be like, hey, do you want to hang out? Because like then they all spoke English as well. But like, of course, when you're drinking, like you're going to speak in the language that you speak. You're not going to
Yes.
do everything for the one girl sitting at the table. But I would feel so guilty asking them to hang out because I'm sure it's exhausting to speak English or speak another language that is not your first language.
Yeah.
And like I just felt so guilty being like, do you want to come over and only speak in English for the next 2 hours and watch this hockey game with me?
Yeah.
So
Exactly. Did you ever utilize like Facebook groups and such? Because I wish I thought and knew about that earlier on in the European stint. Because I feel like there's a couple seasons where I'm like, oh, I could have like put this to good use if I knew, expats in wherever you are, because there are North Americans in those groups like looking to meet friends just as much as we are, when you're so far away from home and just like,
no. And you know what? I really should have done that. Like I should have been a bit more proactive of like connecting with other people. There was a girl just last season in Nottingham. She was from Hungary and she had a baby last season. She spoke perfect English. Like we got along great. She was always with us, but she, I think, joined a Facebook group. I'm not sure how she actually found them, but like a Hungarian moms group in Nottingham, England.
oh,
And she would just
wow.
like get together with them. I'm like, that's so nice. Like that's such a great way to like build community and like feel a little bit like you have a bit of home with you being here. So no.
Mhm.
Did you do that or like you've never joined those groups either?
I did later on. And then I think also having kids, like older, excuse me, older kids kind of like changed the game for me because I just didn't have as much time or really energy to like go that far out. Like I did meet a couple people from my son's school, which was nice because we had that kind of common ground. But it does sometimes feel awkward to like meet up with someone that you meet online because you just don't know if you're actually going to like click with them or whatever, once you're in person.
Mhm.
When you were living in Europe, did you feel like because of like the low import situation, lonely at times? Like, did you feel like you were homesick and that kind of thing?
I always have like found myself being like quite adaptable. So I wouldn't say I've ever, or like I should say like I've very rarely felt homesick. It's more of like the isolation aspect and being like, okay, I'm like all really alone here. Like there's not a chance if I go to the grocery store, I'm going to run into anyone I know. And that's a crazy concept. So in Norway, that season where I was the only North American, that
Yeah.
one definitely an isolating season, but like I learned something from every season abroad. And like that year, I truly entertained myself. Like I was doing every hobby. I also worked full time. So I was working from 3 p.m. to
Yeah.
11 p.m. there,
Yeah.
Monday through
Sorry.
Friday, and then like would have, games and things on the weekend. So I was definitely busy, which was great because if I wasn't working, I would probably have been bored out of my mind and been
Yeah.
like, I got to get out of here because like I don't know what to do with myself. We were in a really small town as well. So that wasn't
Yeah.
super helpful in terms of like entertaining myself
Right.
when he's on
Yeah.
the road. And then in Germany, I was so newly postpartum. Like I got there when I was like 6 or 7 weeks postpartum. And something about that team, we were in a really small town outside of Selb, which like I think the town we lived in was like maybe 1,000 people.
That's
And there
tough.
wasn't like a ton to do in the town we were in. And obviously we only had one car. So Kevin had to drive to the rink every day, which was like 15, 20 minutes and then back. So he would take the car a lot. And like I'm walking the same street a million times around and around and around. But we had really like we had such a great group of girls there. And the team
good.
themselves set up, I think it was one of the first years they had it, but they had a family room at games. So I would literally just go to games mainly for like the social aspect and just like sit there and like talk to the other girls. And all of the girls on that team spoke English and like they were super welcoming. So there's definitely moments, but you have to, again, like I think just kind of take the positives of whatever situation. And like if you're feeling lonely, like maybe reach out to a Facebook group or like I would show up to games even when my husband wasn't playing. I would just like show up and be like, what's up? Like I know dinner is going to be served and I know there's going to be drinks in the fridge. So
Yeah. Exactly.
take my
I'm
newborn
sad.
baby out of the house, get somewhere
Yeah.
else.
It's funny how you like take those little things for granted though, like even just like those teeny tiny interactions that you have like waving to a neighbor, like someone that just recognizes you and to
Mhm.
enough to say hi, or like checking out at the grocery store. Like I find that kind of annoying when they're like, "Oh, like what are you cooking for dinner tonight?" And I'm just like, "Oh, like don't ask me that." But then it's like when you're living abroad, you're like, "Someone talk to me." Like someone
Yeah.
like I need like humans need social interaction. So
Yeah.
that's good that you like push yourself to go out, especially so freshly postpartum, because yeah, living in a really small town like that, that is like a whole nother element of living abroad. Because
Yeah.
there's some teams in Europe where you have like a big city and you have things to do, and like you can, there's public transportation. You can just hop on, go into town, shop around. But then when you're in that kind of town, it's like, it's very different. Like you just not
It's a
the same.
totally different experience. Like, I mean, you've obviously had so many girls on this podcast. Like, I think every one of them has a different experience, even if you've played in the same city, the same
Yeah.
team. Like, I mean, all the teams that Kevin has played on, I bet you if you asked somebody 5 years before we were there or 10 years before, they would have a completely different experience than we had.
Mhm.
Because I don't know, cities evolve, teams evolve, it changes like every year. So,
So yeah. I want to get into working because this is something I literally do not talk enough about, but people ask me all the time about this. I think having a remote job is like one of those things that every single person in this lifestyle wants to find. So I would love to just ask you if you have any advice on how to find a job that you can work abroad. I think people also have questions on like how, like, do you need a visa to do this if you're working like a North American job abroad, like that kind of thing. So any
mhm.
information that you have or can help with that, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer the best I can. I work in sales and I have for the last 6 years now, 5, 6 years. I've always had a remote job in this industry and something like a few roles that I think would work really well for girls abroad. I started in sales, like a very entry level sales role. So I was cold calling people a ton, being like, do you want to buy this software from us? Which you
Job's a
think
job.
about it, like, yeah, it kind of sucks to be completely honest. Like, who wants to sit and cold call all day long? But the lessons that you learn and like what you learn just from pure experience on the phone sets you up for success in sales. I think no matter what way you want to go.
Yeah.
But even like customer success, like people can work remotely, absolutely doing customer service, customer success, even into like marketing and advertising or like ad sales. And I think the place I've always found my jobs is either LinkedIn or even like Indeed, just searching for remote positions and being able to market yourself in a way that like shows that you're capable of the role that you're applying to. I think some people might be like, oh, well, I don't have a sales background. It's like, well, what is your background? And like, how can you market yourself in a way that comes across that you actually do have a sales background? Like all of these things can add up into like a perfect resume for a role. In terms of how, do you want to know like how I got a job or like
Yeah.
what was the second part of your question?
Visas, I think, is like if you need I don't know if it would be like a year. Oh my gosh, sorry, my dog is growling. I think
Mhm.
he hears your daughter and thinks my kids are walking in the door. He's like, "Rrr." I'm like,
Her in the
"Stop."
background. She was
A
crying
little
again.
bit, but it's fine. No, it's not bad, but he is like so testy with like any noise if my whole crew's not home. So I'm like, dial it in. Like, okay, let's say that you work for a North American company and you go abroad. People are like, do you need a work visa to continue that job?
I think it depends on where you're from, if you're Canadian or American. It depends on the country that you're going to. And it also, I think, depends on the company that you work for. If they have a presence in Europe, they can help you, I think, they can help you set up working abroad. However
Okay.
that means, like whatever that looks like for you, whether you need a visa, whether maybe, like I know as a Canadian, well, actually, I'm not Canadian, so hang on, delete that part. I know Canadians working abroad, they have like a tax treaty, something or other, that allows a lot of Canadians be able to work from the UK. I think France might even be part of it. Like, there's so much research that has to go into it. And like, anytime I've worked abroad, I've always had to like go through my company being like, is this cool if this is what I do? And they've helped me with the process, whether that's like getting a visa or working on whatever sort of like agreement we need to be able to
Yeah.
do it. So I don't know if that
Okay.
answers your question, but I think it differs by every job, every company, like countries that you're going to.
Yeah, no, it does. And like, are you transparent from the get go? Like, my husband's a professional hockey player. Like, I'm going to be moving abroad from this time to this time. Or do you like get the job get settled and then break the news to them? Because that's also something that I know people are like, I don't know whether or not I should like let them know or just like drop the bomb.
Yeah. I have always had the mindset that you can do something and like ask for forgiveness later, or like not like ask for forgiveness, but like get the job first. Get the job, show them what you can do, and then be like, hey, by the way, I'm probably going to spend the next 6 to 8 months in Europe and see
Make
what they say.
yourself valuable to the company.
Yeah, show your value. Sure.
Yeah.
Because I think that's like the first role I ever had. I worked at that company for like 3 or 4 years. And I knew right off the bat that my manager traveled all over the world. Like he was originally from Russia. He lived in Hawaii. He lived all over the US. He lived like he'd go to Europe for long vacations. And he was like, if you're doing your job, I don't care where you're doing it from. And I was just like super open with him shortly after I was hired. I'm like, oh, my husband signed a hockey contract. We're going to go here, here, here after whatever. And he was like,
Yeah.
cool. So it depends on the company, I think. And I think the smaller the company, the better it is because you work for a larger corporation. They're going to have policies in place where they're like, you can't work international for X amount of days, whatever it is, without XYZ. Like there's so many other rules the bigger the company you work for. But yeah, I think just get the job, show them what you can do, and then throw it on there later. Like the worst they're going to say is, no, you can't do that. And then you have to weigh your options. Is living in Europe more important than this job? Then that's a decision you have to make.
Yeah. No, I tend to agree with you for sure too, because like if you're part of the hiring process and let's say you're like the front runner for this position and you tell them before you actually get hired, like, hey, this is my situation. And there's someone who's like a close second, they're going to be like, like this is easier to have this other person because they're not moving abroad. But like you said, like make yourself valuable and then, break the news and hopefully they'll ride with you throughout that experience. But so I'm trying to think here. So did you get that job like while you were in North America or were you like applying for it over when you guys were in Europe?
That's a good question. I got my very first sales job, which maybe I just said that this was my first sales job. I was applying to so many places. Like during COVID that summer, I was applying to like every single company I could possibly think of for this one specific sales role. It had to be remote in the US. And I went through the interview process with 2 companies and I was waiting for an offer for both. One of them gave me an offer before the other and I accepted it. It was good enough for what I needed it at the time. And I took that role. And like shortly after I started, the second company reached out and was like, we really wanted you. Like we just couldn't get an offer to you fast enough. And I ended up working for like company B, I'll call it, part-time while still working for company A while Kevin was like trying to find a contract. And when he signed late he signed in Utah and like we like the flip-flop back and forth. I was working remotely that whole time, working a full-time job and a part-time job. And by like September of that year, I had said, I'm like, I can't be doing this forever. And I was liking the part-time position more than the first job that I took. So I left company A and I went to company B and I was like, I'd like a full-time position here. And they gave it to me and I worked there for years. And it was like such great experience was in the home building industry, which is like not my ideal industry to be working in. And I don't work in it anymore. But the job itself was great. Like, calling 1 million people a day. But
right.
My phone skills were top-notch.
By this point, you've got the phone skills down, you're ready to roll. Yeah. And then you also do content creation. So what made you start doing that and like doing, navigating that world? Because that's also very different than the sales role and being on the phone all day.
Yeah. I have always been like a pretty creative person. Like I like to create, like I like to sew, I like to paint, I like to just create things from nothing. And while sales is my career, I've always just wanted to get into content creation. I've always just thought it's something I wanted to explore. So when we moved for the Norwegian season, I just was like, you know what? This is like my chance to try it. And I started posting the second we landed, like day 1, I think I started posting. And I posted every single day that entire season, which was another reason, like I didn't have any friends, I would say, that season. So that was another thing that I was doing. Like I was working full time plus doing content creation. So I truly tried to stay as busy as possible that season. And then I kind of just carried it through the summer and then every season after that. Like it's been so much fun to be able to like curate these memories and put them in video form and be able to not only like look back at them myself, but share them with people because I feel like this hockey lifestyle is not a standard lifestyle for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think people like to see the ins and outs of what goes on during a hockey season and what it takes and the very short period of time we have at home before we have to pack everything back up and go for another season. So it's been fun. I'm curious like how things will go now that my husband's retired and kind of like switching gears with the content that I'll be posting as far as, there won't be any hockey content coming in the future. But yeah, we'll kind of switch gears and make it a lot more like lifestyle and what it's like living at home. So
yeah, I love that. And I love that I feel like that first day that you get abroad, it's not like, the most relaxing, glamorous time when you're getting settled in and like navigating a new grocery store and apartment and like getting situated. So that's cool that you just were like, you know what? I'm just going to like jump into it and just start sharing that because people really don't share that stuff, like the nitty gritty parts of like that situation. So I like that you did that. And yeah, I feel like your content too will just like kind of evolve as your guys' lives change. And I don't know. I'm just, side note, I can relate to what you're saying because I'm like, one point when my husband retires, I have to figure out how I'm going to kind of shift my pace well. And I'm like, I think that's interesting to talk about that retirement element because that is going to be a transition. And even though it's like outside of the lifestyle, it's still intertwined into it because, that's like, it's a shift in what you guys have been doing, but still connected to the lifestyle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And in retirement, like, he definitely wants to stay within the sport of hockey. So I'm interested to see like how I can still pull that in some way, in some aspect.
Coach's wife, perhaps. Here
maybe.
we go.
Yeah. You know what? I don't think there's many coaches' wives out there, like on social media. Is there?
I think so, but I feel like generally they're like, they don't share as much about. That would be interesting though. I wish they would, because I think it's like, it's a whole nother thing. I mean, God bless those women because those hours are crazy, like even crazier than I complain about the hockey schedule all the time. And I'm like, these poor coaches' wives are like, their husbands are gone like an extra 5 hours of the day more than what my husband is doing.
I know. Thankfully, being married to a goalie, I feel like goalie coaches have it a little bit different than assistants and head coaches. So
true.
Maybe he could finagle a good schedule in there or something.
Yeah. Okay. So retirement, how did you guys make the decision that it was time to hang it up?
We decided before going into last season. And I think my husband always wanted to play for 10 seasons. He played for 12. So he was already, he'd already hit that goal of his. And, you can't play forever. Like playing 12 seasons, even if you start playing professionally at 18, like you're getting up there in age. Like you truly cannot play into your 40s. I mean, some people do. There are some people playing in their 40s. Yeah. I would love for him to be able to play for like another 5 years because I truly loved it. Like I loved going abroad, but I think with our daughter getting a little bit older and our family getting older, we just kind of made the decision going into this last season that it would be the last one. And he went out on his own terms, which I think is what he really wanted. And he went out after 12 seasons without injury, which like is a huge accomplishment, I would say, other than, like the normal.
Right. The normal wear and tear. Yeah.
But like, he had such a great season his last year. So he definitely was able to go out on a high note, which is amazing. Like I don't think he could be happier with how things have gone.
So when you guys finished the season, did he know that was like his last game?
Yeah.
And did anybody else know besides you guys?
Definitely. Like he was pretty open about it. Like fans would ask, like, is this your last year? You're going to come back? And he wasn't like shouting it from the rooftops by any means, but he'd be like, yeah, I think so. Yeah. I never really said anything because I'm sure you can relate to this. Like every season, it's like, is this my last? Is it one more year? You just don't know until you know. But he just turned 36 just a few weeks ago. And being a goalie, being any position, like your body obviously takes so much every single season. It takes so much to get into shape for every season and stay in shape and stay healthy. And I think he just knew like it was his time. And again, like being able to stop playing at 36 or 35 and still feel really healthy is a huge accomplishment. I think he was just like, you know what, let's end it here. So, and I think it's almost, do you think you would go into a season knowing that it's your husband's last season, or would you kind of make the decision afterwards?
I feel like for him, he would probably want to know it was his last season if he has the choice. You know what I mean? Because then I feel like you would always wonder, like, what if, or
Mhm.
I don't know, just having that feeling of like really soaking in your last game.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I think it's great to go into the last season knowing it's gonna be your last because you truly take advantage of like every opportunity. You say yes to everything. Like, yeah, I think
Yeah.
we had such a great year. Like, I would probably say it was one of our favorite years.
So let me ask you this. Now that everybody is like heading over to Europe, how has that been with social media and like seeing everybody packing their bags and getting on planes and like for each of you as individuals, like seeing that and knowing you guys aren't doing that again?
Yeah, I think he would probably have a different answer because it's different, I think, for the guys playing versus us, like having to pack up now
Right.
having a child too, being like, okay, like I have to pack up all of our stuff again. I feel like a sense of peace with it. Seriously, like it's so much fun seeing all our friends go back and be like, oh, this girl's in Italy, like this family's over here, like how fun. Like, and then you can follow along now with the social media, which is like so nice to be able to stay in touch that
Right.
way. And, you truly get friends all over the world that like you played in one team and then like you disperse and everyone goes everywhere. And the longer you
Yes.
play, that spider web gets bigger and bigger. So that part's really fun. And we have, like I've mentioned this, like my husband's Canadian, I'm American. We've obviously had to make a decision of where we're going to live
Oh,
somewhat
yes.
term. Like, let's be serious. Like, who knows?
Yes.
We're not trees. Like, we can move.
Right.
But we've decided to move to Toronto, which is where he's from. And like, it's the hockey mecca. So now I have to go through the process of like getting
Oh my
visa
God.
and moving and all of that. So we're moving actually like in the next week or so, moving into our house here. So it's kind of like perfect timing in that we're like, we're
Makes
not
you
moving for
busy.
hockey season, but like
Yeah.
we're moving to like the next chapter. So
Oh my gosh, thank you for bringing that up because I thought to ask you about that because I know you posted about that on your TikTok that you were like, we're
Mhm.
deciding between where, like, does anybody have advice? So you decided. That's
Yeah,
exciting. Now you have an answer. Now you have a little bit of you can figure it out now. And
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, okay. And you'll work your job that you have now and that'll be able to go with you to Canada.
Yeah. The company I work for has offices in Canada. So I was able to
Cool.
transfer to their
Awesome.
Canadian division super easily.
Okay.
So yeah, kind of just like made sense for right now. He'll try out like staying in the hockey world, see if he likes it. So we'll be here for at least the next year and then kind of go from there. Who knows what'll happen next after that?
Hey, well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, I always like to end the podcast with this question. What is the biggest piece of advice you would give to someone that's listening to this episode? And side note, it can literally be anything that feels like true to you, like just something that you
Yeah.
want to say.
The best advice I could give somebody is just like say yes to anything that comes your way, whether that's like a hockey contract or maybe you're like living in a city that you don't absolutely love, but like, maybe you live a couple hours away from a really fun city. It's like, just say yes, like take the trip, just do everything you possibly can to enjoy your time over there and like make the best of it.
Love that. Well, thank you so much, Lo, for coming on the podcast. And if people want to find you, where can they find you on social?
I have to look it up
All good.
because it's opposite. Number one, thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun getting to know you. And I know we'll stay in touch even after this podcast, I'm sure. And everyone can find me on TikTok at lowcar_ and Instagram _lowcar. It's opposite.
Yay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.